How's it going, guys? Been a little while since we've done a stream. And yeah, so I am set up in my new home, which is an apartment in Nanaimo, BC. Moved from Burnaby, BC. And it's not really the ideal setup, but I think it will work. Let me know how it sounds and everything. Kind of on a minimal setup here with the streaming stuff right now. I don't have a desk. I don't have a chair. So I'm sitting on a stool, a little stool that's way too small. Got a single monitor, Stream Deck, audio fuse. Got my speakers way too low. Can't really see it, but it's like right below the camera. A little closer than I'm used to. They're just like easily, I can touch them. They need to be tilted up at a higher angle and lifted. It's not an ideal setup. And yeah, this looks a lot more different. I was trying really hard the past half hour or so to get NDI virtual camera to work on my iPhone or my iPad. It just wouldn't work. I got it to work for a second, but then OBS didn't see it. I restarted the apps, black again. So I don't know what to do about that. I want to give you like a kind of a tour because right now I'm kind of tethered to the computer and the power supply on this camera. I can move it around a little bit, but it's going to be very jarring to move that around. My desk right now is an IKEA shelf that's dismantled, so I'm using like the top and bottom pieces just to like as a tabletop, and it's on top of a rack, like a equipment rack, and a tube amp. And so that's my desk, and it's way too low, and my arms hurt at the end of the day. It sucks. Speakers too low, but then I've got my lights, and I've got my camera, and I got my mic stand. I've got 3 lights behind me, trying to keep things trying to keep the production at the same level it was before, but the background's just not as interesting. And I'm probably going to have to flip this around 180 degrees. Yeah, there's a lot of stuff I need to do still. The track you just heard was something I've been working on, trying to get used to these speakers. I think we were working on this track in one of the previous streams. Let's pick it up from where we left off. I think we had just a basic kick here. And so that kick is a sample. This must be from Loop Cloud, put into Resamplematic. Bit of EQ on it. Since then, I added a second kick. Actually, this is the next kick I added. Just, low sub. And then I've got a third kick, which is a more straightforward kick, and I just shortened it a little bit here. Here's the original. I don't know. Did I pitch it up? Yeah, I pitched up 16 semitones. So I just wanted like a little more attack on it. So something like that seemed to help. So all 3 kicks and original. Couple snares here. So that is just a snare like this with some EQ. Vintage verb on the snare bus, and then I'm clipping it as well. Second snare is like this, more bright. And so together they sound like this. And so I can choose different sections of the song to turn those on and off and stuff like that. So this is my main hi-hat. So I've got the air saturation filter on this, and I'm using the overdrive. mode. This is actually a really cool plugin. I guess I knew about it, but I just kind of came back to it in this project. I ended up using it a bunch of times. It's a filter and a distortion and a bit crusher, or yeah, with the resample and bit crush modes, you can do like the lo-fi effects, plus kind of with a filter. And the VCF versus DCF mode kind of changes things in a cool way. Plus there's all these different filter shapes. So that's just doing a bit of drive on this, some resonance. I've got duck on this just to give this like, just to let the kick through on the downbeats. Got re-delay on this to make it sound wider. So all effects off like this. I think probably widening was the first thing I did to it. And then the filter, and then duck. And then finally, I put on an EQ with a LFO on it. There's a second hi-hat that is just playing this part. Just a little accent sort of thing to make that play on 16ths. Actually, I guess that's 30 seconds, yeah. Roman asked, where did I move from and why? I was living in a house in Burnaby, BC, which was really just falling apart and kind of making everyone miserable. It was lots of space, but it was also a lot of work, and I put in like 10 days into the move, just like selling stuff, cleaning, decluttering. I spent a bunch on junk removal and stuff like that. We wanted to move closer to family, and most of my family is on Vancouver Island. So we moved to Nanaimo, and we found an apartment, a 3-bedroom apartment. It's super quiet here for the most part, but like my kids, or my son specifically, has been on his worst behavior the last few days. So it's been, you know, on top of kind of the normal stress, it's like constant attention for him. But I don't know. It's a big change for him as well, but he has a hard time kind of expressing his feelings, and it's just like, you know, kind of annoying in an annoying way. Why did I move? Because the house was falling apart, and we had no like friends there. We had no family to help us out, to like no one to watch the kids ever. And without school, it was just like driving us crazy. So this place, it's not perfect, but it's at least we're close to the family, and then we have another year to find, you know, the ideal place. I've got some different crash samples. And there's this one. And I got some like short things. I got some boom things. And this one. And that one's got some delay on it. The synths are a mix of Thorn from Dimitri Sesches. That's going through duck. What does that one even do? This sounds like this on its own. I shouldn't say on its own, because duck is doing a lot there, and OTT is doing a lot there, but by itself. And there's various automation things in here as well. I show you the automation lanes. There are a lot of them in the synth bus and on the individual synth tracks. Highly recommend putting a button here for toggle show all active envelopes. It's 2 clicks to declutter your project. I love it. Next one is Contact with the Analog Dreams synth. depending on the section that I'm on, it's going to have different saturation filter effects. Uh-oh, Reaper's not responding. So air saturation filter, and there's duck on this synth as well. Got another contact here, using for just this one section. And so without the effects, I'll set the mix to 0. So yeah, that's doing a lot. I've got some various other things, just little transition parts, the ends of the main section go to a different synth. That's another thorn. That's another thorn. This is another thorn. Love that thing. The intro is a few instances of Tal Uno LX. So there's another one here. This one and Filter Freak. No real reason to use Filter Freak. I just wanted to. Yeah, and there's some weird effect here, which is on the synth bus. I turn on the air phaser in this section. And turn the rate up. And then one more instance of Tal Uno LX with no other effects. Just a quick arpeggio. Is that the upgraded version of Analog Dreams? I don't know what you mean. Is there an upgraded version? It's the full version that they released for free. Must have been March or April. Reaper is not behaving itself today. I almost never have issues with Reaper. At least it's not crashing, it's just like freezing up. In this project, I used a couple pieces of automation items. And so I've got some LFO, I think it was square-shaped LFO, and then I glued them together to make a couple different patterns. So here's that section with everything in. There's a couple spots there where I'm turning on the phaser on the synth bus. So like right here. Which kind of just adds a bit of randomness, makes it a little less monotonous. The whole song goes by pretty quick, but it's like, you know, all these little variations and splitting up the different kind of transition synth sounds to different instruments. It's a bit wasteful to have a whole synth patch just for these little bits. But I could always freeze them, stuff like that. John Ponder says, I've been having issues with Reaper lately too. It suddenly starts crashing on projects that previously worked seamlessly on. I mean, it's a hard thing to troubleshoot often. Yeah, it's usually almost always plugins. This project lagged a lot just loading. I think it's all the instances of synths. You know, you never know. Sometimes they'll work fine on their own, but some combination of two is a little bit weird. And All Dreams is now at version 2. Yeah, I had no idea about that. Let's look that up. Oh, 2 weeks ago. Is this the new part or is this the same? Let's see if it will update. I don't think I'm on version 2. I haven't updated in a while. When to freeze and not to. I never freeze. Yeah, I pretty much never freeze unless there's some major issue. Yeah, I'm still on version 1.1 of Analog Dreams. All right. I will update these later today. Thanks for the heads up on that. I would have missed that for weeks, so thanks. All right, so the freeze question. I typically don't freeze anything until it's required. Let's look at performance meter. We can sort this by CPU use. The master's taking the most. You can't freeze that. But this track with hybrid, which that's this one. What's it actually doing? That's just this. That's a fair amount of CPU just for 2 notes. So that's one I could freeze. So I'll just do that now. And that gets rid of a bunch of different effects. So freeze tracks to stereo. So the entire project only takes like 6% CPU. But every little thing you can do like that, like I know that I'm not going to add any more notes to that or probably add any more effects to it. But I can freeze up to there. Now, some of these other ones, let's sort by CPUs again. So this one with contact. Can I select it? What's in here? So Analog Dreams. At the bottom of the plugin, you can see which or how much of the CPU use each plugin takes. But let's say contact, I wanted to render, but I want to keep the saturation filter. Like contact, I'm not automating anything here. So I can right click, I can go to freeze track up to last selected. And so in this case, it's just going to render contact, and the saturation filter and duck are going to stay there. Yeah, so basically, like if you're running into stability issues, if there's a certain plugin that you want the sound of, but it's prone to crashing your entire session, you know, try to commit that as soon as possible, so the whole project is more stable. And so I brought the total CPU down a little bit more, like 2 more percent, something like that. And I could repeat that for all the synths. I don't know, you could freeze guitar tracks with virtual amps whenever you find that you're at a good place with committing. But even this is not really committing. You could always unfreeze. But if you're fine with the arrangement, that's kind of one of the main things. If you're happy with the sound and you're fine with the arrangement, you're not going to change it, then freezing is great. Otherwise, you want to maybe right click and render item as new take, or apply track effects to item as new take. And then you just bypass the plugins or just remove them from the track. You could put that onto a new track. You could render out something on the synth bus. So I could have like this effect. Let's say the phaser keeps crashing. I could just render all my synths in this one section and remove the phaser, and I would get the same sound through here. I could set this to record output stereo and record, and let's do that mode. And I'll turn off OTT there and just record. Okay, and turn OTT on, and I can set this to offline and take that out. I think things sound different now. Why is that? Interesting. Whatever I did, that kind of backfired because this synth does not sound like it used to. Did I lose my routing on this track? Huh. I wonder if that's a bug. You guys catch that? Yeah, so I think that when I did the freeze, I think I lost the kick send. Odd. Okay. Yeah, I did. Cool. Yeah, watch out for that. If you freeze something, check the routing. Make sure it doesn't change, because that was a weird thing that shouldn't have happened. You just picked up the Cherry Audio DCO 106 version of the Juno 106. Very nice indeed. Yeah, I'm so happy with this one, Tal Uno LX. I don't really want to try it. Like, this plugin, when I first got it, it had already been out for a few years. But I went on, I think, KVR Audio Forum, and I just put in a bunch of feature requests for it. There's a lot of weird things that no one seemed to have had catched up until that point. So I just put all the feature requests in there, and they're pretty much all there. The only weird thing about this synth is that if you grab one of these controls and move it, if you grab one of these controls, there's like a 50% chance that up and down is going to work, or left and right is going to work. But if you accidentally grab it and move slightly to one side, like, I don't know, it's just really weird. It seems like half the time left and right moves it up and down, but otherwise you're moving the control. It's so weird. I don't remember it doing that until like the last update. It's a great sounding synth. I love it. There was a lot of weird things, like the rate for the arpeggio was in a really weird order. So if you put on sync and then drag it, it was like the how do you say it? The order of eighth notes, dotted, triplets, things like that, they were not in the right order. So you couldn't like automate this to make something faster. So really strange. I don't remember what other bugs there were, but there's a lot of weird things. So if you watch my very first video on this, it's changed a lot since then. I mean, the appearance has completely changed as well. What was it? You can hide the keyboard, stuff like that. But I hear Cherry Audio makes really good stuff too. What's up with you guys? Anything that I missed in the past couple weeks? I know that I haven't been posting that much, but I've been super busy and just haven't been using Reaper other than some like quick paid work that I couldn't really show anything for. Any cool free plugins you've been checking out? Thank you for thanking me, thank you for thanking me for all the content and stuff. I love doing the live streams to get some like instant feedback from you guys. Seeing all the compliments and everything. I don't take compliments very well, so I appreciate them, but you don't have to, you don't have to feel like you need to say it or anything like that. I know you guys like the videos from the likes and comments and just showing up in the live streams or watching, all of that stuff helps. Really wish that NDI thing worked for me today so I could show you a different angle of this. Oh, and then it's also such a pain to get iPhone photo to a PC. I think I posted on the community page. So if you guys don't know, this camera. So this is what the studio kind of used to look like. So it's a much wider room. And then where you see this black column, that's a IKEA shelf. There used to be a second double length one there. I had my acoustic diffusers screwed onto that. And then some more on my left side. I had a cloud diffuser, or not a diffuser, cloud acoustic panel above me. So this desk got thrown away. Things on my Twitter. I've got a photo. So when I moved in, I guess day 2 or something like that, I kind of set this up. So this is sort of where I'm at with this right now. I've got my acoustic panels in front of this. So there's just a big kind of wall of acoustic panels in front of me. That's the other angle. There we go. So this is the space right now. So I'm taking up kind of like maybe this area right now, kind of as little as possible. And then there's a big pile of stuff still there. So that's when the movers dropped everything off. That's kind of the first attempt at setting something up. I think these photos are in a weird order, but... Have I ever seen the Reaper tutorials from Alex Wilkinson? Yep, I saw them all. Alex and I started with Reaper probably around the same time. Learned a lot from Kenny Joya and Adam Wathan, who were switching from Pro Tools at the time, and so were we. So yeah, I've seen his stuff. Roman says he used OneDrive, $2 for 100 gigs of storage. I have Dropbox. I just, I don't have it on my phone because I don't want it to sync usually. I have iCloud on my PC, but that's, I don't know, there's like a really long delay before it starts to download photos, and usually I want them right away. I love AirDrop. If my Mac could actually handle OBS and everything properly, so I could do these live streams from Mac, then yeah, it would be super easy. I think I'm going to wrap it up pretty soon. How long has this been going? 46 minutes.